Hey everybody, and welcome to Epic Everyday, our weekday podcast for busy, overwhelmed Christians who want to stop being busy and overwhelmed and instead have freedom and abundance and peace. I'm Liz Ferris, and this is my husband, Evan.
Hi there.
We're so glad you guys are here with us today. As you guys know, we work our way through the CSCs. They are being calm, surrendered, centered, connected, and complete. And today, since it's Friday, we are going to talk about being complete.
That's right.
And this week, we've been spending the whole week talking about time. So we're going to talk about how to be complete with your time.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important qualities of that is being in this moment and not somewhere else, right? Not in the past or the future.
Right. If there's anybody who is new and doesn't know what complete
every Friday
is,
we go through this.
it's because complete is like, to me, it's the least self-explanatory.
I know, and I
the other ones you can be like, well, what's calm? Oh, well.
I know. I just always jump the gun, but it's good.
So being complete is being, utilizing your entire self, not being fragmented in yourself, and being fully engaged with everything that's going on around you.
Yeah. With
time, obviously, by definition, if we're talking about being in the now, the opposite is being stuck in either the past or the future.
Yeah, and some of the things that drag us into the past are things like regret and bitterness. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that drag us into the future are anxiety, wanting to go ahead and do that thing, not having to wait. I guess that impatience maybe. Is that the same as anxiety? No, it's slow.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a difference. There's a beneficial, yay, I'm so excited for this thing or that thing to happen. I mean, you can get overly stuck in a fantasy.
Yeah.
And instead of being here and now with what's going on. But I think there's also a benefit to being looking forward to the future. There's a difference between looking forward to the future and being stuck in the future.
Yeah. Because, how are you going to get there if we don't do the work that it takes today to achieve that goal? It's good to have goals, but they don't just happen if you wish hard enough.
Yeah, there's a verse in Proverbs about that. I can't remember what it is now, but just talking about you can't live in a fantasy and expect things around in your life to change.
Yeah.
And I remember reading that and being like, what? I didn't even know, first of all, that this particular translation had the word fantasy in it. But, wow. But second of all, just that idea, because I think it is so easy to kind of, especially, if you're in the self-help community at all, a lot of people talk about, law of attraction and paying attention to your goals to such an extent that you believe that they're going to happen, and you can kind of forget to do the work to get there.
Yeah. Right. And that's true. I think sometimes that's what we're trying to avoid, the easy way to get to success or something. But
we're trying to avoid the easy way to get to success.
We're trying to avoid the work.
Oh, yes.
So that's not how the kingdom of God works.
No. You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
If you're not sowing it, you can't reap it. Yeah, I definitely, the mental picture that I have when I think about the past or the future is these anchor points where you've got, something happens and you throw down an anchor, and then you're trying to move forward while you have this rope stuck back there. And then the same thing with worry, you're trying to move forward while you have all this stress over something that may or may not even happen.
Yeah, it's the unknown. It doesn't exist, the future.
Right.
And in a way, the past too.
Yeah.
But at least there we have our memories and our feelings.
Right, and the past is important. It's part of who we are.
Yeah. It
changes us, but we still don't want to have anchors in the past that are keeping us from moving forward. And can you imagine how freeing that would be to just be now, and to not have anything in your past that you're hanging on to, not have anything in the future that you're worrying about? Maybe it was because of all of our holiday talk, but thinking about little kids and how, especially when they're younger, they really just live in the present,
Yeah. And
it's fun to
sometimes,
watch.
right, unless it turns devastating where if they're not
That's
eating
true.
right now, they're going to starve to death,
Yes.
because they're hungry and they may never get to eat again.
Yes. We have a almost 2-year-old niece, and it's pretty fun watching her develop some of those skills.
I'm going to come back to this and you're going to look at me like, but maybe it's just part of one of the big things I struggle with, but I think casting around, reminiscing or anxiety about the past and casting forward to the future, like that makes me bored now because I'm not there.
Man, you are bored a lot of the time, aren't you?
I think I was. I'm okay with being bored now. I think, and maybe it's just a label I have for some other feeling that somebody else might call something else. But in my mind, I've kind of made peace with being bored, and it's kind of like when I start to feel bored, it's sort of this trigger of like, well, just be here now. It's not going to last forever. Like I remember so vividly. I don't know how old I was. It's that vivid of a memory. But I do remember the feeling of like, because I remember being bored a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
And at some point, it was like, I just sat there in the boredom, and then it was kind of over before I expected it to be. I don't know if I was probably in church or something,
Not school. No.
Oh, yeah, probably school, actually. And I just, there was some sense of like, this is now, and a little bit now is going to be later, and it just gave me a sense of peace for some reason, where it's just like, because before it'd just be like tap your fingers, shake your leg, and be like, okay, I want to be outside riding my bike right now. I'm bored, and it would last forever.
See, this is again one of our personality differences, because I don't know that I'm ever bored.
Really?
Yeah, like.
But you
guess,
you have the anxiety.
Yes, yeah.
And worry and
I
all that
definitely,
stuff,
yeah,
but
I worry about the future, but boredom, no.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
my brain never shuts off. You know that. Like, I always have.
Yeah, I do. I think it's a different brand of anxiety, different packaging, maybe.
Yeah.
Boredom. I mean, because it's if you just like embrace your boredom, I mean, you can build your whole life around that, and then you're just like huffing and rolling your eyes at every single situation that comes up, no matter how spectacular, because who knows, you just got stuck in boredom.
Yeah.
I mean, I think some people do that. I mean, I feel like once that happened, I don't know. I guess I feel like I made peace with being bored, and it's still really hard to meditate though. Like I don't know, because that's being fully present,
Right.
And just being okay with being bored is still not really being fully present.
Yeah.
It's just sort of learning that you can wait it out.
It doesn't last. Yeah. Yeah. See, I have trouble with meditation more because I'm like, what do I need to do next? What else is on the schedule for this week? Are we going to be able to get whatever done? Da, 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 da. Where am I at in my story? Like,
Well,
I have a ton of other things that I'm thinking about. So it's hard for me to shut off my brain.
Yeah.
But it's not boredom.
I think I use boredom, like when I'm trying to meditate at work and I'm just alone in a room, and like I'm not really bored then. Mm-hmm. But I think boredom is when I'm being forced to do something I don't really want to do, or if I'm with somebody who I don't like being around.
Yeah.
Then I think I'm bored. It's because I went out of the situation. So maybe it's not really boredom, some other form of. But it always just, that's what I label it as.
Maybe it's like, what is that? Disassociation.
Yeah, probably something more like
See,
that.
I would totally, like, I can identify with disassociation, where you're just like, I don't want to be here, so I'm thinking about something else.
Yeah.
But it's never, to me, it's like, I don't want to be here. What do I want to think about? Oh, let's think about that.
Yeah, except for, I would imagine more often than not, you're like, oh, let's think about that. And then you're like, I've got to do 100 things tomorrow. But
it depends. It depends.
Yeah. Well, so that, whatever it is, it definitely steals my peace. And I'm not complete because I'm not where I am.
Right.
I'm not fully aware of my surroundings because I've cast my brain off to something I like better, I guess.
Right.
Something to work on for sure. But I think I have done something with it because I couldn't do a play. I really like people that I don't like even now.
I know you do. It's constantly.
I'm fascinated by people, and I think maybe that's how I learned to like. Okay, well, I'm going to be so bored. I'm going to engage, but I genuinely am interested in people, even if they're annoying.
I am in awe of your people skills.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm just like, psh, done talking to this person.
Yeah, maybe that's a technique of like trying to be here now. It's like, well, how do I be here now? Because I know my tendency is to go off in my mind. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, paying really close attention to what is actually happening around you, like trying to be interested in what's going on around you is one way to re-drag your brain into the now. Mm-hmm. Another one that I really like is just taking some breaths.
Yeah.
Like, count 6 breaths out and then be like, okay, and now I'm going to move into whatever else I'm doing,
Yeah. And I think it takes practice too. If
Oh, yeah.
Some people are not comfortable being around other people a lot, so they're going to have to practice that. Some people can't be alone, and they're going to have to practice that. Because sometimes you're with people and sometimes you're alone. And we want to have peace in both of those situations because we're always with God. And
Definitely.
we can always pray, even while you're talking to somebody or stuck in an elevator.
Yes. Yeah, that actually was one of the things that I wrote down. Not the elevator thing, but that part of the way that we can be complete with time is because of knowing that we're trust fund children of God. Both with, not just with money, like we were talking about last week, but also with our time that, like Romans 8:28 talks about that he's working everything out for the good of those who love him. Knowing, for me, that was a big shift. Like knowing that there's good in this moment and that I just have to like be here and have my eyes open to find it. That was a big, big shift for me because for a long time, growing up, I was just like, there's nothing good ever around here. So I'm always going to like escape.
Yeah, that's a great mindset. Look, because then you're kind of like more aware and you're looking around for the thing.
Right,
the good
exactly.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then the other thing that I really like as far as worry goes is going back to, because you're a trust fund child of God, he makes your paths straight. Mm-hmm. Which, most people have memorized Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your paths straight. But I think sometimes we don't actually think about what that means. Like straight paths back then, that's a big deal. Like when you think about it, the amount of work, if you're trying to get from A to B and you have to climb a mountain, it takes way more effort.
Oh, yeah.
Or
it takes more time to go around the mountain.
Right. And so the fact that God makes straight paths, like he makes things more, he takes our effort and then supercharges it so that our effort is, more effective, that our time is more effective, things like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm just thinking about that relationship between effort and then moving in the power of the Holy Spirit. I mean, it's just something I'm still baffled by. And I think you have to, prayerfully keep trying stuff.
Yeah.
Our pastor has a great illustration. It's sort of like the opposite of what we talked about on Wednesday, where a ship is rudderless and just going wherever, know. But this was a ship that's not moving at all with a rudder, and the rudder's turning to the left or the right, but you're not really turning to the left or the right unless you're moving. That's how a rudder works. So there's a balance there. Like, it's not in our strength that we move forward and strike out and do all this stuff, but it's not without us doing something.
Right. Yeah. Faithfulness, like we've talked about before with the parable of the talents. Faithfulness is not burying your talent and, not doing anything with your time. It's not getting stuck like Proverbs talks about in a fantasy of the future. It's It's being here, being now, and being faithful to do whatever it is you're supposed to be doing in this moment.
Yeah, faith and actions go hand in hand. And we don't just have one or the other.
Yeah, James talks about that over and over. Well, hopefully that gave you guys some things to think about. I know I definitely need to work on that. Letting go of those anchor points and really, that is one of the things I try to do, to have that mindset of there's good now. But sometimes it's easy to forget.
Yeah, especially if you're waiting for something or...
if you're sick.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that now.
Yes. If you have a lot on your schedule. There's lots of things that are like, I just got to wait till I get to whatever point before the good gets here. But there's good now.
That's right.
We love you guys, and we are praying for you. Thank you so much to everybody that's been sharing the show. If you have found this podcast helpful, please do continue to share the show. And we believe that the more Christians that are living in the CSCs, the healthier the body of Christ is. And that means all of us, because we're all connected. Come back next week. Since it's Thanksgiving, we decided we would talk about health.
Well, yeah, that's good.
Well,
I feel like we can think about it.
I feel like a lot of people kind of freak out around Thanksgiving about health.
I think they do.
Yeah,
or they totally write off the period between Thanksgiving and New Year's as, why even worry about my health? I'll just make a resolution about it.
Yes.
But
so there is a balance.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about it next week.
That's right.
So come back.
Okay, I will.
All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Have an awesome weekend.